Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility, here to report another loss, another giant in the music industry. Michael Thomas Pinder, otherwise known as Mike Pinder, keyboard player from the Moody Blues, founding member, original member, has died at the age of 82. Born December 27th, 1941. Officially dies after complications from dementia, which he had been suffering for a number of years. On April 24th, 2024, at the age of 82, he passed away in his home in California, here in the U.S. Of course, one of the original members of the Moody Blues. He now is the last to leave us from that original group. Right, we still have other members of the classic lineup who are still with us, but Mike is the last of the first to appear on that debut album. Of course, most folks kind of forget about that early lineup with Mike and Denny Lane and company. They're all gone now, and for many people, kind of the real Moody Blues, the way we all know and remember them by, after that initial kind of English pop sound that they had, that psychedelic English pop sound on the first album. Go Now was the big hit from that. Of course, with Days of Future Past, really is where the core sound of the Moody Blues really came into play, led by their use of orchestral elements and, of course, Mike's very, very clever and groundbreaking use of the Mellotron, in addition to playing many keyboards in the band, piano, organ, electric piano, Moog synthesizer, harpsichord, things like that. He's best known as being like one of the main Mellotron players out there on the scene. You know, bands like the Moody Blues and King Crimson, Barclay James Harvest, Genesis, Yes. I mean, all these bands employed the Moog, but Mike Pinder is always known as being one of the greatest Mellotronists out there, right? Signature sound. Let's recreate as best we can an orchestra without actually hiring an orchestra to appear on our records. And he went and brought that Mellotron. I believe, I'm trying to remember what the which version of it was. He had one of the early ones, but I know he took one of them out on tour all the time. Again, I don't remember exactly which one it was, but that's what you hear on a lot of these early Moody Blues albums, that haunting quality of the Mellotron, which Mike was just so good at utilizing all the different, whether it be strings or horns, right? He would use the different keys on the Mellotron to activate the different tape selections to help bring that particular sound to those specific songs that utilize it. Because that's all the Mellotron was kind of like a tape machine, right? It had all these kind of tape reels that when you activate the keys on the Mellotron, it would then run, I believe it's 8 seconds worth of the sound of that particular tape reel. And that's basically what a Mellotron was. It was just a kind of a weird tape machine made in the form of a keyboard. So, but yeah, Days of Future Past, of course, I do want to also mention, singer also, arranger, and songwriter, because I think Mike was such a key member of this band, lead and backing vocal harmonies, writing lots of songs, all the different keyboard textures and things. Days of Future Past is their mega album that everybody remembers, Nights in White Satin, all that sort of stuff. But then you've got, In Search of the Lost Chord, On the Threshold of a Dream, Question of Balance, those core 7 albums that come like pretty much right in a row. To Our Children and Children's Children, Every Good Boy Deserves Favor. You got these great album covers too, Seventh Sojourn, and of course Octave, right? He would eventually be replaced by Patrick Moraz in the Moody Blues heading into the 80s. But it's with all these classic albums that he's really most notable for. And just one of those guys that just made such a mark in the music and the albums of a particular band, this being the Moody Blues, that you just can't imagine this band without his contributions. And so many classic songs where, like Gypsy, I'm just going to roll off some stuff, Ride My Seesaw, Dr. Livingston's great, Legend of a Mine. God, I'm just going to go through some of these. Lazy Day, Are You Sitting Comfortably, The Voyage, just great stuff. Question, of course, Dawning of the Day. Gypsy, like I mentioned before, that's one of my favorites. Eyes of a Child, Floating, where his rich mellotron and keyboard tapestry is just such a important part of the symphonic nature of the music of the Moody Blues, whether it be the more folky stuff, the more rock-based stuff, or the more pop, psychedelic stuff. He's just there in the middle of everything. My Song, Procession is great. One More Time to Live. Just so many classics here. Lost in a Lost World, Land of Make-Believe, Stepping in the Slide Zone. Yeah, another great loss. It's just amazing how many of these classic musicians just leave us. And, he was 82 years old, so he lived a full life. And as someone who currently has and has had elderly relatives who are suffering from different forms of dementia, it's a brutal disease, and I can't imagine that the last few years of his life was easy. Again, not knowing all the full story of how long he's had it. I know he's been suffering for a while, but to see someone on a daily basis who is going through this is very tough, very tough. But we have the music, right? That's always the one consoling factor, is when we say goodbye to our heroes like this, our musical heroes. At least we can think of them and their accomplishments and their music with lots of love and lots of positive energy. So, let's say goodbye to the great Mike Pinder today by playing these classic Moody Blues albums, enjoying those rich and haunting mellotron and keyboard tapestries, his wonderful vocals, his songwriting skills, his arranging skills within the confines of this legendary band. So, Mike Pinder leaves us at the age of 82. Godspeed. Let's go out and celebrate his life and his music today. And visit us on the web at www.seaoftranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube, all together, all the damn time. Thanks for watching. Mike Pinder, rest in peace. I am Pete Pardo. Thanks. Take care. Bye-bye.